Hey, it's Daniel. This is going to be a quick vlog. It is the end of January 2024, so Happy New Year's if you believe in time. I kind of just wanted to update my channel on sort of what I'm up to nowadays, what I have going on creatively, and what I have coming up that you guys can expect to see from me in terms of like the work I do, some films, some music, all of my projects that I have planned for this year. Let's get into it. The first thing that I wanted to talk about was one of my two podcasts, Celestial Oddities, Pair of Normal Guys. You may have heard of this podcast or you might be new to it, but it's a paranormal, esoteric podcast where my partner Garrett and I, we sort of talk about all things metaphysical, paranormal, supernatural. The show has been going on for several years now, and we are about halfway through another season. And the reason why I'm making this announcement in regards to Celestial Oddities is we will be taking an indefinite hiatus upon the completion of this season. The reason for that being is that my partner Garrett, he is very devout in his spiritual work. He is a father of two beautiful kids. He is a husband. He works a full-time job. And one thing that he's really doing is investing his time in his spiritual work, which I can certainly respect and appreciate. Garrett is very diligent and disciplined in his spiritual work, and it will require a lot of his time. So we've agreed to go on an indefinite hiatus after this season is wrapped. Doesn't mean that we're never coming back. We have some plans. I know that I would like to do a Celestial Oddities book, which I'll talk more about in the future. We might come back in the future when he's done, with his work to sort of follow up. So we're not sort of like ending, but an indefinite hiatus. Now this season is also on video. And what I think I'm going to do is when we live stream Celestial Oddities, it distributes to his YouTube channel, my public Facebook page, Instagram, and what I'll do is I will upload the whole season on my YouTube channel here in my interview section so that anybody who misses those live streams or hasn't seen any of the season, I'm going to post all of the episodes here on my YouTube, and then I'll also link to the previous seasons, which are all on audio. So you guys can check out Celestial Oddities and watch for my channel here when I upload the whole season in its completion on video. My second podcast, That's So Meta. A little update about that podcast with my partner Lauren and I. Good news, it's not going anywhere. It hasn't ended. I know that we only do an episode maybe every couple of months. Say, for example, each episode ends up sort of being like a vlog like this, where we add sort of metaphysical sort of twists and perspectives on our lives. But that's the nature of when you start a YouTube channel, like I did up going on 4 or 5 years now, that as life sort of spirit sort of calls you in different directions, your energy just goes where it needs to. And so I love That's So Meta. Lauren loves That's So Meta. We are not ending. It's just a very slow to produce show. And so we will have another episode this coming February. And if you have any suggestions on a topic, a particular idea you'd like us to sort of explore or express, or even a call to action on, say, for example, another Q&A episode. Those used to be pretty popular. So if you have any, say, for example, a list of metaphysical, spiritual, esoteric questions that you would like to hear Lauren and I sort of give our philosophy on, we will do a Q&A episode. And then we're also taking suggestions on particular topic episodes. That's So Meta is still happening, and you can expect a new episode this February. I'm going to talk about music for a second. Now, before I became an actor and a filmmaker and a video producer, I was a musician first. When I was a teenager, I would write and record my own music. I taught myself how to play guitar. I really enjoyed sort of singing and finding my voice. And I was also in several bands throughout the years, rock and metal bands, and I really enjoyed performing music and expressing myself sort of emotionally. Music, in a sense, has been almost in a way like my way to bleed, if that makes sense. Music is sort of a way that cuts right to the emotions that I feel. And so writing and recording music has always been a true, deep passion of mine. The only thing is, I don't always share it, right? So oftentimes when I write and record music, I don't post it online. I used to do whole albums, whole CDs of music, and I found that the process of making music and expressing myself, the doing of it is enough. Sharing it opens a whole different realm of sort of, in a sense, your art being measured, being perceived, being interpreted, being graded, when that's not necessarily a bad thing. I mean, obviously that's why I'm also a filmmaker and an actor, is I like to express myself and I like to share that. But I think music being the first place that I really found myself artistically and creatively, although I like to share it when it's appropriate, specifically in terms of like when I score my own films. I like to write and record the music for my own movies. That's one way that I do like to share my music. But I like to pick up a guitar, and just play and sing and bleed. And that isn't always something that needs to be shared. It's therapeutic, it's cathartic. And although I would always hope the music that I would share with people would help them in some way, the way that music has always helped me, I don't necessarily feel the need to do that and release my music in a way that is, say for example, so public that, as things just start getting judgy. My musical tastes and my musical expressions are all over the place in terms of genres. Also, if you do follow my YouTube channel, you can assume, it's safe to assume that I'm metaphysical and I'm spiritual. And the type of music that I like to perform and that I like to write and record doesn't always appeal to the general sort of community that's into spiritual content. There's a little bit of a frequency dissonance there now. That's okay, but that's also why I do it for myself and keep it to myself. But okay, with all of that being said, rambling aside, I am going to share music, and I do make music of a variety of different genres. So if you do see me posting music here and it's something that you don't resonate with, you don't like the genre, save your spiritual opinions to yourself, because I don't care if you like my music or not. Like I said, I do it for myself. I do it for my own creativity and for the sake of my expression, but I am still going to share it. And so I hope that you like it, although it's okay if you don't. Check out here on my YouTube channel for some music over this coming winter. It's mostly metal. It's mostly rock. So if you're not into that thing, you see it come up, you don't necessarily have to like unsubscribe and block me on Facebook, but you don't have to like it either. So I hope that you will give me the space that I'm asking for to express myself musically with some short, like 1-minute songs that I'm going to be putting out just for the fun of it. And because that's what I started doing first, before I worked in metaphysics and spirit science, before I became an actor and a filmmaker, I was a musician first. So I hope you guys can give me the space to express that and explore it. And I look forward to finally sharing it with you guys. In other news, I don't know if you guys have seen on my YouTube channel, I posted some clips and some ads for a live speaking engagement that I did at my friend Natasha's Little Shop of Lilith here in Western Pennsylvania. She is a friend of mine that hosts a spiritual, metaphysical sort of magic, esoterica, occult shop, and she hosts a series of speakers where people give lectures on particular topics. And Natasha has asked me to speak again. So my last lecture was on the concept of extraterrestrials, and this particular lecture is going to be an open discussion on the concept of cryptozoology. So I'm not going to be sort of like standing there like I'm some sort of expert in the field, giving everybody a lesson on what cryptids are exactly, and rather I'd like to have an open discussion. So if you guys live in the Western Pennsylvania area and you're interested in the concept of cryptozoology, creatures, monsters, the things that we've all been sort of kept away from in the mass consensus in terms of like what's really out there, what exists beyond the human race, I'm going to be having an hour-long open discussion about that concept. So the lecture, I think I'm going to call it something like just a discussion on the concept of cryptozoology. That way it feels more conversational for people and I'm not just sort of giving people like hard data the whole time. So I love speaking. I love sort of sharing what I know. So if you live in the Western Pennsylvania area, you are free to attend. You can look up Little Shop of Lilith Facebook, Instagram, on her website, and you'll be able to find the times and the dates of that event. The date for that event will be April 3rd. Once again, that's at Lil Shop of Lilith here in Western Pennsylvania. And if you're not able to attend or you live out of the area, my partner Lauren and I, we will be filming it, as I film literally everything that I do. And I will make sure that that is available to you one way or another. The next thing that I'm excited to share is, if you're familiar with my Spirit Contact Protocol, you can find a video about that here on my YouTube channel. But it's a service that I offer where I help people connect to their spirit guides, their spirit teams, their passed on loved ones, their extraterrestrial star family, and their angels, everything in between. There is actually a protocol that you can use. It's a type of meditation where you can, project your consciousness into spirit and you can make contact. Well, I have a new service that I'm going to be offering this winter. And instead of having, say, for example, a one-on-one session where we contact your spirit teams, or I teach you how to do that, instead, I'm going to be making something called a star seed and earth seed report. So what is that exactly? Well, have you ever wondered if you, say, for example, your incarnation, your identity as you are now, have you ever wondered what your other incarnations might be on, say, for example, an alien planet or another race, or what we call intraterrestrial races that have existed on planet Earth, or maybe do still exist on planet Earth in a lot of ways that we know nothing about? So what I do is I use my own Spirit Contact Protocol to connect to your spirit teams. And what we do is we find in your incarnational lineage a way to locate another incarnation of yours that exists amongst another species, amongst another race. This could be a star seed, which is basically life, on another planet, or an earth seed. So there have been civilizations that have existed before the human civilization on planet Earth. And we also still have civilizations that live here now as we speak, that live underneath the ocean. They live inside tunnel systems. They live in alternate frequencies, other densities of our planet. So if you're curious of learning where else you might exist, or what some of your other incarnations are, I actually will be making these reports for you. And the way that this works is we connect, we open a communication, and then I will do some spiritual research for you. And then I make you a one-page report of a race or an identity of yours, a counterpart of yours that I've connected to. I'll teach you a little bit about that race and how it relates to your incarnation now. What is the relevance of your existence in that version of reality? Well, we'll connect that on your chart, on your document. So when I go live and I'm open to accepting orders on the Starseed and Earthseed reports, I will make a video here on my YouTube channel with a small advertisement letting you know that I'm now accepting orders. And I hope to connect you guys to a lot of other incarnations that you might not know exist, and how those might actually be helping you in certain ways. So check back here on my YouTube for when orders are open for the Starseed and the Earthseed reports. Next on the list is I'm announcing a new web series that I will be releasing here on my YouTube channel. And this is called The Now Records. The Now Records is sort of like a meditational, peaceful, serene video series that I've created for those that have an affinity to beautiful scenery, to peaceful moments, to being introspective and being able to sort of sit in the moment and sort of take in your surroundings, take in your environment, and bringing us more present into the now when our minds and our thoughts and our tasks throughout the day keep us so busy. There were basically two reasons why I created this web series. This motivated me to just grab minimal camera equipment and go out somewhere scenic, go out into nature, go out into cities, go out places that have sort of like an aesthetic sort of power, and get creative with what I can capture mostly by myself. So generally speaking, I will be taking a small set of gear and going out and shooting these alone. Once in a while, I might bring a friend to help me out with, depending on, if they want to travel a little bit, or maybe, get behind the camera and just help me set things up. But more or less, I'm doing this alone as a way to sort of motivate myself to get out and be creative and see what I can accomplish with minimal equipment, and get out there and just really do something new. The second reason why I made this series is I realized that some people on YouTube, they like to actually watch meditation videos, or they like to listen to channels that have, really sort of beautiful nature sounds, sort of an auditory sort of aesthetic. This won't be anything like an ASMR thing, but if you like a beautiful scene, I've composed these sort of like films in a way that would almost look picturesque, that would allow you to meditate on what you see and meditate on what you hear just for 20 minutes. Each episode will be 20 minutes to help center you into the now moment, to center you into your body, into your mind, into your spirit, and your 3D senses. And if anything, just serve as a break, a 20-minute break from the day and sort of the rat race around us. That's why I go out and do it. That's why I enjoy this sort of like little creative side project of mine. And I hope that when you watch it, you can set aside the 20 minutes to sort of sit with me and meditate and take in the sights and the sounds and just sort of immerse yourself in the moment. So the Now Records, I currently have 3 episodes filmed, and I'll be putting out the first one here in the month of February. And my goal is right now, without any sort of insistency or sort of like, very like concrete plan, is I do these very leisurely, when I'm feeling called to. I want to sort of break these episodes up over the course of different seasons throughout the year. My goal is to have 20 episodes, and I'm creating all of the music, and might be collaborating with some people to include their music in the films as well. But like I said, I'm doing most of the shooting and the editing myself as just a sort of creative side project. And once I achieve 20 episodes, which could take a year, it could take 2 years, I'll sort of like assess the journey of what it's taken me to make 20 still single frame episodes of sort of like an immersive meditation. So look for the first episode this February. I'll put right here on my YouTube channel. I hope that you can find 20 minutes to enjoy just being present in the moment, and that it's aesthetic for you the way that it is for me creating it. So keeping on the subject of film and web series and sort of my favorite creative medium, which is producing video, my partner Lauren and I, we're both longtime gamers. We're big fans of, playing video games, and I understand what some of you are thinking, oh, that's such a negative distraction and video games are agenda-based. But listen, everybody watches movies to a degree. Everybody watches a TV show here and there. We've maybe all played video games to an extent, and playing video games has always been a way that I can sort of take a break from a lot of the time-consuming, deep sort of immersive spiritual practices that I have, and accept the fact that I'm a human having a 3D experience. I don't need to explain myself to you. I just like video games. And with that being said, I am announcing a fan film by the Remedy game universe, Alan Wake. So you may or may not have been familiar with the concept of Alan Wake, but the story is about a writer who writes novels, who he and his wife go to sort of like a beautiful remote log cabin somewhere. I believe it's set in Western Washington, which is where I spent most of my life, and I love it there. And what happens is the writer sort of spins into what's called as the dark place, which is almost like a breakaway dimension, a side pocket dimension where he becomes trapped. And so the video games are really attractive to Lauren and I, specifically because they're so cinematic. They're so story driven. They're so deeply immersive in terms of like psychological horror, psychological thrillers. I think the writing is excellent. The gameplay is less like your run-of-the-mill sort of shooter, and more so like an immersive story that you're in control of. So I'm no stranger to doing fan films. I've done several fan films in the past based on video games, and it's just something that I like doing because as somebody who spends a lot of time gaming, it's a way in a sense to give back to the community, to give back to the developers. I know that developers have seen the fan films that I've made in the past, and I've always been really impressed by them, which I think is super cool. So Lauren and I are going to produce an Alan Wake fan film, and we are going to be shooting that this sort of for my birthday, right? I know that's kind of weird, but every year Lauren asks me what do I want for my birthday, and usually I just want to shoot something. I want to be creative. So this year we will be shooting an Alan Wake fan film. It will be free to watch online, free to watch on YouTube. And once the production is wrapped on that by April, we're going to get that edited together and released free to watch. And I wanted to announce that because I know that I do have a little bit of a gaming community that follows me, and I know that at least a small portion of you will appreciate the fact that not only do I produce films full-time, but I like to get into producing fan films, and the Alan Wake universe is going to be something really just fun to explore. So if you're into psychological horror or you're into video games at all, we are doing an Alan Wake fan film, and I can't wait to show you guys. So continuing with the topic of film and web series and video production, if you're familiar with me as a person, not just my YouTube channel, but me in general, then you may have heard that I'm producing what I call my life's work. It's a film that's now evolved into eventually becoming another web series called Oma. I'm not going to give you guys a deep dive description on what Oma is because I've discussed it here on the channel. I've discussed it in my podcasts, and we have a website. Go to www.storyofoma.com, where if you have not heard about this project, you can watch my introductory video about the film, and I will be doing some updates, some vlog style and some text-based updates on the website this winter to orient people with where we're at with the project. But just briefly, Oma, when I say it's my life's work, I downloaded the story of a hero, in a sense, the hero's journey concept about a character that existed and still exists during the Orion Wars. And if you're not familiar with the Orion Wars is basically what Star Wars is set in. It's set in that sort of idea. And what a lot of people don't realize is that Star Wars is based on a true story. So Oma is my own telling of my own character, another counterpart of mine that existed during that conflict. And so what we're doing is it's like sort of this dystopian cyberpunk epic that not only ties a several 100,000, maybe a million-year-old war, it ties that to now, to Earth. And so a little bit about the production side. Oma, although we have been abundantly supported in the production and the creation of this film, we have been working on it now for going on 2 years. And Oma is an acronym for something, and I can't tell you what that is, but I can tell you that it's a very grassroots project and that only a few people are working on it. So use your imagination when you think about a movie like The Matrix or Dune or Star Wars, and how big those films' budgets are and how many people work on those movies. Now take that idea, that imagination, that formula, imagine how many people are working on those sci-fi epics, and then now picture 2 people, more or less doing everything on their own with minimal help. Now we do hire crew, we do outsource help, but generally speaking, in terms of pre-production, the filming, and most of editing, we are doing everything by ourselves. So what this does is it makes the process much slower, and our ability to complete the film, it does take a lot longer. I think by the time that the film is formally released, it will probably have been in production for 3 years. But that's not bad, considering major studios can take a year or 2 to complete a movie with hundreds of crew, and we're doing it with less than 25 people. Okay? So listen, to summarize about Oma, I will tell you, visit storyofoma.com, where I'll do more formal announcements, more formal updates as we get closer to the completion of the film. But I can tell you that I am editing the film. I am working on it. I'm cutting it as we speak. And once the film is cut and picture locked, then it will go on to what's called as visual effects and animations. Then it will go into sound and music. When all that's done, I promise you, the film will be released. It will be free to watch on all of my platforms. And the good news is, since the creation, the initial inception of the creation of Oma, the film has grown, it has expanded, it has evolved. Now, originally when we set out to do this project, we wanted it to serve 2 purposes. Number 1, yes, obviously we're hoping that this sort of proof of concept film would get discovered, would get noticed, and that we would receive the resources and the support to expand it and do it much bigger on a more grand scale. So that, in a sense, is what the goal of a proof of concept is. But the second reason that I made this film is I understand the power in how to supercharge and imbue your art with an intention. And what my goal is for this art project, for this movie of what I call my life's work, is what we hope it will do is expand the collective consciousness of Earth. It will help starseeds remember their starseed origins. It will help us heal ancestral and incarnational trauma, right? So I know that seems like a tall order. I know that sounds like a lot to ask when I tell you this is my life's work. These are my goals for the OMA project. And the good news is, since the original creation, the film was designed to be a 2-minute trailer. That's it. But it has grown and evolved so much that now the film will actually be a 20-minute movie. And it has grown and expanded again already into a 6-episode web series. Okay? So what our goal is, here's what the timeline looks like for the OMA project. My goal is to have the film released by summer of 2024. And then what we'll do is we'll go into production on the other 5 episodes to create a 6-episode web series. So that's sort of the timeline. That's my goal. What I would suggest is please visit storyofoma.com for more formal announcements and formal updates as I have them. That's another project of mine over the winter, is to just properly update the community on what this movie is doing. So you can find that on the website. But that gives you guys sort of a look into where we're at with the production, the timeline, and I just want you to know that this movie is my baby. It is everything to me. My hopes and dreams for this movie are what you would hope and dream for anything that you love. And so thank you for your patience and for your interest and for your excitement in the story of OMA. I can't wait to share it with you guys. That's all I can say about it right now, that it is being worked on. And as soon as it's ready, trust me, you will be the first to know, right here on my YouTube channel, on the website. Everybody that's worked on the film will share it, okay? Listen, it's my highest excitement, it's my greatest joy, so thank you for your interest in it. Now, if you've made it this far, and you can take my rambling, I want to thank you very much for your presence here on my YouTube channel. Thank you for your interest in my work and my creative expressions, in a sense. Being an artist, I find it so cathartic and sort of therapeutic to create art, whether it's music, whether it's film, or whatever your sort of medium is. I want to thank you for affording me this space to share. And sometimes I might be a little bit slow to produce and release my work, but that's also because I work as a full-time video producer. So I actually run a company, The Moment Imaging, with my partner Lauren and I. We are a full-service creative video team, and that's where most of my time and my energy is focused. That is not only our cost of living, but it's something that I genuinely enjoy doing. Part of, like, in a sense, like our brand slogan is, part of our story is helping you tell yours. So The Moment Imaging has been my full-time job now for going on 4 years. And I love my work. I'm very passionate about it. That is where most of my time goes, which means that a lot of my independent sort of creative endeavors are slower to manifest. But thank you for your patience and for your interest. And so look for my live event at Little Shop of Lilith on April 3rd. Look for my new web series, The Now Records. Look for my Alan Wake fan film, my cyberpunk dystopian epic, Story of Oma. Thank you for your presence here and for your interest in my work. That's going to be it for this vlog, but listen, reach out to me. Let's talk, let's chat. If there's something specific that you want to see me do here on the YouTube channel, let me know. I'm happy to see what I can create for you guys. I'm looking to be slightly more present on my YouTube channel this year, whether that's live streams or just sharing my art with you. Thank you for being here. I am Daniel James. Be creative.